a lot of times it's there is no further explanation. There doesn't need to be an evaluation. The behavior is completely in line with the causal, or the behavior that the person is engaging in is completely rational from a causal perspective when you look at what happened before that, or what intentional action or non-intentional action was taken. And it's equally as important to understand if the action taken was intentional or non-intentional when you're making charges and writing up RICO charges and, working with law enforcement. Don't even worry about and where they differ. Who would you want living in the house next to you and your family? Then prosecute the other. And base that off of everything. Moral and ethical decision-making skills, control, etc., and so forth. So thank you for the breakfast. That was absolutely delicious. I ate it. I woke up very early, like 4 a.m. I told you guys, some lady, she sounds like a child. But what fucking child is going to be outside in the middle of a field at 4 o'clock in the morning, walking up to a stranger's tent? Who would do? There's no child. What child would be doing that? And this woman, I'm going to open your tent. I'm coming into your tent. What the fuck? I'm laying there in my shorts underneath my sleeping bag, wrapped in Xavier, okay, body heat all around, boobs out in this sports bra that doesn't even really fit me anymore, 30 weeks worth of fetus hanging in between my body and Xavier's. I have to put one of my legs on top of Xavier at this stage in my pregnancy. I'm literally using Xavier as a pregnancy body pillow. This poor person, this poor man. Like, I'm sorry, really?
Just kidding.
Oh. I won't. What if it hurts?
No, it doesn't.
Are you sure? Okay. It hurts me. Like, my hips feel like hips because of the weight of the baby and the way our hips hinge. So our hips are like this, right? And then our legs hang down. But when my legs are like this touching together, my hips start opening up and this lower part of my hips start touching together. And then the weight of the baby on top of that, it's like tailbone and hip bone. Terrible pain. So I try to keep my legs that are coming out of my hips straight by putting one straight out and the other one on top of Xavier, who's also on his side. I can't lay on my back anymore. I can't breathe. I'm like, help me up. Pull me up, please. I'm huge and heavy, and it's just, I'm huge. I'm 5'9" without, anything going on. And I'm sure that there's about 20 pounds of baby and fluid in my front. What do I mean by that? One, it's very simple to retain water or bloat when you're truly pregnant, when you're building a human. So you will gain a lot of extra fluid weight, anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds on average. Number 2, you create a placenta, and the placenta and the amniotic fluid, and the 20% increase in blood volume. When you incorporate all of that liquid retention and the gaining of all of that liquid everywhere, and then the bloating, and then the, everything else, the actual baby himself, who's probably about 5 pounds now, the placenta, everything, the natural weight gain from eating all pregnancy and not being in the gym or having a competitor's diet or mindset, just trying to not die. I can't get up anymore. I can't stand. I can, I'm being dramatic, but I also cannot. It's a struggle. It is a definite struggle. I have not struggled to stand up ever before in my life. So, well, maybe when I was pregnant with Alexis and Vic and Lewis, I guess. No, that is true. The last 2 months of my pregnancy, especially with Alexis, I was in the pedicure chair 2 or 3 times a week because I was in so much pain. My feet were so huge. It felt like I was walking on water beds, or like bags of water or something. It was treacherous. What are you doing with that?
In the garbage out.
Here, wait, did I give you this? Oh, yeah, I did. And I was telling Xavier this morning, isn't it wild that in 6 weeks, if this baby is born, he'll be considered full term, 9 months, 36 weeks to 40 is when the babies are born. 6 weeks, that's a month and a half. And he's so active right now. He knows we're talking about him. Q&A. So my big kids and I have always resided together their entire lives. They lived with me. 4 to 5 days out of the week. They had weekend fathers, thankfully. Even if their fathers were being busy, was going through his maturing and being single after we broke up, and Alexis was 2, 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. So I was the primary parent, and he would say no, and his mom would babysit for me so I could go to work 3 days a week. That's why I ended up having to get a custody agreement through the court, because additionally I don't believe in going through the court. And if you guys know me, you know that I talk about this a lot. There's a saying that I learned when I was a little girl, and that is that you cannot squeeze blood from a rock. When someone has already been squeezed dry of whatever resource, emotional, financial, whatever, no matter how hard you squeeze, you won't get anything, So I believe the court system, in child custody laws. And I believe that, because I think that they're so far removed from who the children actually are. That there is no ethics incorporated when it's the father and the mother taking care of it on their own and making the agreement on their own. They both are only, one relationship removed from being that person. They're very close in connection to the child. Both of them are. So if they're an involved, parent, they will do what's in the best interest of the child. The court system will do what's in the best interest for the court system in a lot of cases. So I've just always been a fan of handling it myself, but my custody agreement was always that I had my kids, all 3 of them, the same days. And then they'd go to their dads for 2 or 3 days a week. So I was the primary custodial parent, and I still have that agreement in court. Nothing has changed as far as the court's concerned. But you can't raise a family in a tent, it's not ideal for sure. So I have been requesting assistance and, a response from 311. No one has answered. I've had 8 tickets open and closed, with 1 remaining open since September of this year, with additional tickets submitted in the previous year. I called yesterday for an update. They said there is still 1 case open. The rest have all been closed. So they are going to call me or it won't be them to call. It will be Salvation Army. I attempted to call Salvation Army today, and they did not answer. So I've been dealing with this type of weirdness for a really long time. It's really annoying. All I really truly want to do is move forward with my life, with my children and my baby and my family, and with Xavier, and be minding my own business. So it's incredibly frustrating to continue this 4 years in, or more, if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty and the details of when all of this really began. It was 2014, 15, 16. 15, 16, 17 actually. So I guess we're going to do Q&A on that. We're going to do Q&A on the show and what I feel, was the ultimate catalyst in causing all of this, and I don't know that they were or were not related. So we'll be figuring that out as well. It's a crazy world. So Xavier's gonna get us lunch, and I'm just gonna be here waiting for him.
You need to know what you were doing all those years. The 2000s.
I do know. I have everything written down. All right, you guys. So tune in for the Q&A later. I was gonna do my makeup, but then I got lazy all of a sudden. Xavier calls that radiation. I call it unlawful interference, sabotage.